Welcome to BeerNet Radio, everybody. This is Harry Schuhmacher, your host, and we have some special guests today. We have Mark Young, who is the founder and CEO of BeerBoard. We have Todd Morillo, who's the director of sales technology at Eagle Rock Distributing. And of course, we have John Lane, the principal at Winking Lizard, a chain of taverns in Ohio, right? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
You
Okay.
got it right, Harry. Thanks for having us on here.
You bet. And it's funny that we had this set up because I had been working in parallel on a story which ran Monday about kind of the chaotic situation that's going on with B2B apps. I call them apps. People call them platforms, whatever you want to call it, of getting orders from the retailer to the distributor, and not just orders, but sales information, and really helping the pre-sales rep get the information they need to facilitate an order. If you go back and check that article, if you haven't, it kind of gives you a kind of a lay of the land, 30,000 foot picture of how it's going right now, because, each major distributor, all the wine and spirits guys and Reyes and a few beer distributors have their own proprietary platforms. And then you've got Pro V out there as a third party, and BeerBoard and others. You have RAS systems as well. And all of this needs to be integrated. So guys, why don't we walk me through what you guys have done and when it pertains to the on-premise?
Yeah, I think, Harry, your article was definitely a good summary. I think you summarized it well. And I think there's a lot going on here. And our mission here, and I'll let John and Todd talk to it, but really is just to facilitate that interaction between an account like John Lane, who runs 16 different bars in Ohio and has thousands of SKUs. I think over 700 different unique products and brands, right? To order from over 20 different distributors, right? So it's a lot to it, right? And John can talk to it, and I think Todd, Eagle Rock offers thousands of SKUs as well, right? So, like you said, Harry, we're trying to connect that and really just enhance that interaction, right? So it's not, they use the term marketplace, and they're talking about different fourth tiers, right? We don't want to be a fourth tier. We're just trying to facilitate that interaction between retailers like John and distributors like Eagle Rock. So that's really the connecting data, right, for all the parties, from a retailer to a distributor. There's a lot to it. It's a heavy lift. It's fragmented, and that's what we're trying to do, is to enhance that interaction.
Okay. And can you tell me kind of how it works in practice?
Yeah, very simple. With John, let's just use John. John's a client of BeerBoard, so it's a paying client, right? So it's not a free service or anything like that. We work with retailers, provide them services. John has all at one of his locations. Typically, I mean, they can have on average 6 different distributors, is all into one unique unified platform, right? So it's under one smart orders section for the retailer, for the GM to go into. We use data that we collect from the location through POS and flow sensors. We use that data to recommend orders. Their GMs then can review those orders, approve them, and then submits them in to all his different distributors, just in one interaction, right? So they can do it by distributor, or they can just go on Monday morning or Tuesday morning and place those orders through one tool that then would submit it based on rate of sale data to all their various distributors. So it makes it less time, saves the GM some time. We're working with John and his team to make that as accurate as possible, and then work with the distributors so they can receive that in a way that works for the distributor as well, through digital connectivity is the ideal way to do that. And we could let Todd talk about that as well.
And just before Todd, it seems like to me, draft inventory is really hard because you have to know how much is in the keg, and that's hard. You have to go back there and lift the keg really to know how much is in it, unless you're measuring porridge. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I think John will attest to this. We've kind of made that the easiest category now for Winking Lizard, right? We're covering all categories, liquor, beer, and wine. So draft is now they've been really good at monitoring and tracking their draft. So to your point, Harry, yes, you need to know the inventory levels, the rate of sale. That was typically the hardest category to track for a bar.
Right. And Todd, how are you using this?
We're using it just like Mark outlined. We've positioned this as a very retailer friendly or retailer facing piece of technology that kind of closes that gap that we experienced a long time ago. Some of this new technology that's coming out has been great on the distributor side and great for our sales reps, but Eagle Rock has really tried to take the approach of what is most retailer friendly, what's going to benefit the retailer the most. And the smart orders feature in BeerBoard has done just that. It's made the technology and kind of what we're looking to do with that data and the analytics that it provides, kind of what we're looking to do with it. So it's made the retailer experience much more friendly.
And how does it interact with your route accounting system?
Sure. So we're an Encompass wholesaler. Encompass is our RAS that powers everything we do behind the scenes. Their recent integration has made those orders flow seamlessly from the retailer's point of sale system into our RAS, accessible by all of our reps.
Do you use other ordering platforms?
We do. Eagle Rock has had an interesting journey. So we started exploring B2B maybe 4 years ago. And initially, and even now, we still maintain that we wanted to be the wholesaler of options. Again, just reiterating how important the retailer experience is. So we were offering, we still offer Bees, Pro V, DSD Link, which is powered by our RAS. And we just like the organic flow of what the retailer chooses. What is the easiest for them to use and interface with? What's the easiest way to get that order from point A to point B? And we kind of let the retailer dictate that. But the integration that BeerBoard has is very successful.
So you kind of just let the account decide, and you're agnostic to, you make available the major kind of platforms that are out there.
That's correct.
And that's interesting. So it flows all back in to your system, and then the RAS aggregates whether it comes from BeerBoard or whether it comes from DSD Link or whatever, it's the same on the back end. It's just the order and inventory.
Yeah, essentially they're all APIs. Some are formatted differently than others, but those APIs are ingested very easily by Encompass without issue.
Right. John, can you walk me through kind of your workflow of how you manage your sales and inventory?
Yeah. So usually on Sundays or Mondays, our manager goes in and they can look and see what inventory they have on hand. And again, they go to place an order, and the smart reading comes back through and says, hey, we recommend you order another keg of this, or you know what, looks like you're going to be good to go. You don't need to add any more inventory. So it has shrunk how much we have on the shelf. That's A. And then B, what it does is my managers can look on their phone and they can gauge in 10-minute increments whether that draft beer is being charged for and how they're doing on ounce. So it has literally saved me about 2.5 points, which I thought we were good with 1-inch heads. Now we're really, really good, because these managers can look at it and go right to the bartender and say, hey, you know what? That Yingling draft you just poured, you didn't charge for that. What's going on here? If they're looking at it. And so we use it as a tool. All the bartenders now know that we can look at that. And so they are a lot better at pouring what we all want, a great looking draft beer with a 1-inch head. So it's saved our managers a ton of time because you can imagine most of my stores deal with about 6 wholesalers. So 6 different reps would have to come in at different times. The beverage manager isn't always there to take that order. So we've erased and gotten rid of the stubby pencil drill or the iPad drill where the rep has to sit there and let's face it, a monkey could place an order, right? This is just it's dumb in today's way. Now, what would I like to see? Well, instead of that 10 minutes that the rep is having to take an order, how are they using their time? And my contention is they should be using their time to train my staff on their products. And so get rid of the dumb stuff, which any business is now, or our food has been like this for a long time. Let's get rid of the dumb stuff that we're doing and let's concentrate on selling more beer, which we all know we need to be doing a better job of.
Right. Use the beer board, smart orders. Do you use any other ordering? Like, what about your liquor? How does that
Liquor,
go?
we're a control state,
Mm,
so unfortunately, we're not there yet on the liquor side of ordering, but I know Beer Board's working with the state of Ohio to see if we can. We actually order from Giant Eagle stores through
mm.
another party, and so they have their own system. The state has its own system, but it's pretty wonky. It'd be better if we had on the Beer Board side, where again, then we can measure. We're getting a little bit of AI in there, right? Telling that store, hey, you know what? That's not enough Tito's. You better get another bottle of Tito's. So we've got work to do on the liquor side.
We're working on it, right, John?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. I mean, we know the alcohol business is so complex because there's 50 different states, all with different laws. Some are control, some are 3-tier, and even within the state, there's different regionalities in it. And so, Mark, how are you positioning the smart orders? Is this you want this to be the on-premise place to go, I guess, for people to get their orders? And how do you go about, selling the retailer on it?
Yeah, the absolutely. I mean, our goal, we think we offer a solution that, just like John was saying, there's a multitude of services that the retailer can now benefit from that. I think that's where Todd and other distributors are seeing that they can help technology that can help the retailer, but also facilitate and help their reps and their distributorship. That's really ideally what we're looking to do and positioning it to continue to expand that and scale it up. I mean, we're building out a whole network now. We have 1,500 plus distributors that are interacting in the platform. And now, our job is to continue to work with our retailers and our distributor partners to really make that interaction work for both parties and bring them both the right benefits and then scale it up to bring it to more retailers. I mean, that's really the position for us.
And to be clear, you can order packaged products through it too, right?
Right. We
Not
are.
just
Yeah,
brown.
we're actually connected. We're integrated with Southern, with RNDC, with Breakthrough on an EDI connection. Eagle Rock is, as Todd explained, that's an API through the RAS system and Compass. So we're really leaning into, we prefer where Todd is in Eagle Rock, where we can have a little bit of a more advanced connection, so we can actually provide him some more information to his sales team. So that's where Todd's trying to help his team get better information so they can hopefully do exactly what John is talking about. They can have better conversations, maybe dial up the training and education about the products and spend more time on that, but also have the information right at their fingertips when they're walking into that location. So we are doing that, Harry, with the wine and spirits wholesalers as well, because they really, like John said, the goal was, and Buffalo Wild Wings and other retailers said, the GMs told us they want one place to place the order. They can't do beer in one and wine and spirits in another. And as you continue to write about, there's a lot of convergence on that too, even amongst the distributors. So we're really trying to make that a totally agnostic interaction, right, where you can connect to all your distributors. That's to me, that's where the industry should be. And as Todd said, he can have that interact with his back end system, and he can accept different orders. But we think we can help facilitate that for the retailer, for all distributors.
Right. And when you go out to peddle this, are you going to the retailer first? Is that, or the wholesaler?
We've traditionally gone to the retailers first. Definitely,
Right.
we had a retail first solution. We are, like, as you're kind of, I think, where you're going with it. I mean, can we go and work with Eagle Rock now and bring it to more of their accounts in Atlanta and in Colorado? Absolutely. We would. That's the next phase of this. But we really wanted to get the retailer the benefits. We believe that interaction and that solution needs to service retailers and the wholesalers. It has to do both, we think, and that's really where we're unique and different, I think, is what this comes down to.
And Todd, from your perspective, Eagle Walk, as I understand, is pretty technologically forward. I think I remember, like, I think somebody told me you had like things on your trucks where you could see how many, well, never mind. I'll scratch that. I can't remember what it was. I just remember Eagle Rock was way ahead of everybody. Okay. But so what,
we may have had some really good ideas in the past. I don't know if we implemented them, but we
okay.
a lot of good ideas.
Right. Right. Well, from your perspective, how do you think this is going to play out? Because like you said, you got to be on bees, you got to be on everything. Do you think there'll be a convergence, or do you think that there's just going to be different solutions for different types of accounts?
Optimistically, I think there has to be some kind of convergence. And we've seen it on a smaller scale, as I alluded to earlier. Organically, the retailer is going to decide what works best for them. And as a distributor, it's in our best interest to shift with what the retailer needs. We are aggressively seeking that convergence on our end, meaning that with any new program that Eagle Rock accepts or explores, kind of the standard is that we demand that integration with our RAS. Otherwise, we're seeing kind of a similar effect internally with our sales reps. We don't want to offer our sales reps 8 different apps to go to, 8 different platforms to interact with. And I know this term gets thrown out a lot, but both sides are aggressively seeking that single source of truth, which is going to make the best option for everybody.
Right. I guess distributors could build an API to consolidate all of it on the back end. It just seems messy, but like all things, you never know how it's going to end up until it ends up. That's so profound. Biscuit, what do you think about that? Biscuit is so excited about online ordering. She can't stand it. Look at her. Biscuit, wake up. We got John Lane on the phone. Jesus, this is important.
Yeah, I mean, Harry, I think looking at it from what benefits and how does Todd look at his business, and then how does John, if you can find common ground there that I think can service both needs. I mean, that to me is where we really put a lot of effort into and focus of really trying to work with both parties. So we didn't want to just have a retail only solution. We want to really make it so it can benefit. And like Todd said, the main, we need to integrate in a seamless way to your sales team and your back end systems, right? Your RAS system. I think that's important. And we think that if you can kind of look at it that way from can all parties benefit from this? I mean, I think that's to me is kind of a good place to start, is how can we find that common ground, right?
And honestly, that's rare. Like, usually retailers and wholesalers have goals that can be mutually exclusive. Like in off premise, we want you to come to the store more often, and the wholesaler's like, well, that's going to cost us more money. I mean, there's never something that both parties it makes it easier or saves money. So I agree with you. And listen, Mark didn't pay me to be on this podcast, right, Mark? Did you write me a check? I don't think you did. So, but I appreciate No, and you know, and that I'm just here to learn because you know when I started, I love people love it when I talk about the old days. But when I started in the beer business 25 years ago, we were just getting those brick handhelds that were just ASCII text, basically green screen. They were horrible. You had to couple them to a actual phone to transmit your order. So you had to constantly ask for the retailer's phone. Hey, can I borrow your phone? You know, or you know, before that, I remember one distributor was like, we can't afford handhelds or pencils or paper. Just go steal the lottery tickets from the C store and steal their pencils and and send the order in that way. I mean,
Yeah.
this is where we come, folks. This is,
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
Harry, I think a good example, and maybe John, both John and Todd could talk to this. I mean, we practical situation in every bar, right? Every retailer really. Some of the wholesalers are delivering twice a week, right? So we've seen this in multiple markets where the retailer kind of didn't have information. They're a little afraid that they're going to run out. They're trying to put an order in on a Friday to make sure and get them through to the next delivery. Like there's a good common ground where a retailer, John doesn't want his GM dropping everything to take multiple deliveries every week. It's a pain, right? It's a pain in the ass, right? We all
yeah,
done it. Todd, if he could optimize his trucks and his routes, I think that's a common ground, right? Where they're both trying to save labor, right, which is at a premium right now. And like John said, they don't want their GMs doing the counting in inventory, putting it on the shelves. If they could do that once versus twice, or we've talked to others, maybe some of their distributors should be on it every other week or once a month, right? We need to work towards that, but I think that's a common ground that Todd and John as a retailer and a wholesaler are looking for the same outcome, right? How do we really make this more efficient and meet both needs? Cash flow, how much should be on the floor, right? Instead of overloading them with products maybe that don't move, find the right mix and the right level of inventory to be on the shelf.
and I think that's why the suppliers want their apps to be the one to go to so that they can they can be in control of the algo. And this is kind of gonna be an important next battlefield. And also the data is important because especially on premise, it's such a black box. There are some services out there where you can get data, but it's not as prevalent as the off-premise scan data. So interesting. Well, guys, anything else that I'm missing that I haven't asked?
It's a lot, Harry.
It's a lot. It is. And John, while I have you on the phone, how's your business doing?
Fantastic. Really
Good.
good. Yeah, we had a little softer January than last year, but the weather was for shit. So, you know, we can account for it. But I mean, we were just in the headline. I mean, we had an unbelievable weekend with the eclipse, the women's Final Four, and the Guardians home opener on Monday. I mean, it's been fantastic. Business has been really good.
That's
So,
great.
knock on wood. Yeah.
You know what? That's great to hear. Love it.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you for being on
Thanks.
BeerNet Radio. I appreciate it. And folks, we'll be back at you with another guest next week. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a
Thank you,
lot,
guys.
Harry. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Harry.